Welcome to the Chief Citywide PIP meeting, and to thank all of you, the divisional members that are here. You are the core of the group. Thank you, command staff, for being here, and all attending officers that are going to remain on the quiet side this evening. Thank you. I know it takes you some time to get here, but you are here. As some of the nation's police departments have been the focus of the news in the last year and a half at least, we here in Houston can proudly stand up and proclaim that we offer the Positive Interaction Program, which is an educational tool between citizens and the police department. And every member of this community should be part of the PIP. It's up to you and your community, and you can take credit for this program and the success of this program. At these citywide meetings, the goal is to provide attending members informative information. Hi, sister, how are you? There's one up here, in which you can benefit and take back to your divisional and communities. We will have the invocation from Officer Vince Johnson.
Good evening. Good evening. I'll try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
At this moment, I want you to take the time and just look at the person next to you, to your right or to your left, and tell them how good it is just to be alive. Before I give the invocation of prayer, I want us to keep in mind Officer Shadden, the handler of HPD K9 Ronnie, who passed away days ago. So let's just keep Officer Shadden and K9 Ronnie in our hearts and in our prayers. Is that okay?
Yes.
Let us pray. Dear kind and gracious Father, we thank you for another day. We thank you for allowing us to be on top of the ground and the ground not on top of us. We continue to ask that you continue to bless the command staff, the officers, the citizens of the city of Houston. And we ask that you continue to watch over our children. Never has there been a time where a parent can send a child to school and that child may not come back home. So we ask that you continue to guide us and keep us safe. We ask that you bless this partnership that we have with the citizens of Houston, and we ask that you continue to allow us to work together. Thank you for this friendship. Thank you for this fellowship. And we ask that something be done or said with this presentation to encourage, enlighten, and inspire, and also to educate. We ask that you continue to keep the officers safe on the street, and you continue to give us traveling grace as we leave this place. This is our prayer. In your Son's name, we all pray and say amen. Amen.
A lot of communities have, and cities actually across the United States have discovered the PIP program and have contacted Officer Sabota regarding our program. Many police departments nationally also, they have contacted us and want to know how successful we are, which we are. And maybe that's why this city's in the shape it's in, because of you guys here in the PIP divisional programs. I'd like to do some introductions this evening. And when I call out your group, if you would stand and wave so that the audience can see. And can you hear me in the back? And you are quiet, this is good. First one is the fire department. Thank you for being here this evening. Then we have the FBI, and you all better behave. Where are you? There you are. And right across is the DA's office, if you would stand. And then we have the Victims Services, HPD, and it's Lieutenant June Pleasant. She's on the wall over there, okay? And then we also have Norkinta and Goodall, and she is Victims Associate. There she is in the back. And in that corner over there by the drinks, that's soda and water, people, nothing else, is the Citizens Academy, and they are selling their t-shirts. Right, ladies? Where are you? Okay, there she is. Over there. And I remind you, we have a full agenda and a really super program this evening, which we can tell by everybody that's here. And before we get into that, we have Margaret Dunlap, and she's Metro, and I'm giving her 1 minute. Okay.
You know, 1 minute is not enough. Hi, my name is Margaret Dunlap, and I am the Senior Public Affairs Representative with Metro. And why I asked to speak before you is because Metro has something very special that's taking place. Many of you know that we are the regional transportation system, and it's your public transportation system. And what's happening is that Metro is putting a plan together, developing a plan that's going to take us to the future, the next 20 to 40 years. 10 million people are going to move into this area, and that includes Metro, and that includes Harris County. And what are we going to do about this mobility situation? You will have an opportunity. Last year, we embarked in putting the regional transit plan together under Metro Next. We invite you, and will be happening very soon. We'll come out with 30 public meetings that we'd like for you to attend. Come out and provide us your comments, and that means if you want anything from participation in buses, thank you, bus rapid transit systems, all the amenities, light rail, more buses, anything that you want, and make sure that it's included in this plan. We invite you to participate, and if you go to www.metronext.org, this information will be there of where the meetings are going to take place. 30 public meetings that we are definitely inviting you to participate. Come out and give us your comments again so that we can put a plan together that will help us move into the future. Thank you for your time.
There's one thing I forgot to do, and I know we have a lot of new members, so if you could raise your hand if it's your first time here without running up and down the aisles. Good. Okay, thank you for being here. We hope you come back again. The next thing I have is Miss Laura Lynn, and she is with the U.S. Programs Houston Site Manager for World Vision. This is a humanitarian organization, come on up, working to alleviate poverty, respond to disasters, and provide clean water around the world. And World Vision came to Houston to support thousands during Harvey, that crazy storm we had, to rebuild their homes and their lives. Laura and World Vision has and continues to be a generous partner with HPD South Central, making donations to support their community service events, catering to inner city and underprivileged youth. They've also donated thousands of toys, and they continue to donate toys to help support the Blue Santa HPD program. And she's here and will speak about the Global 6K Run. Okay, it's yours.
2 minutes. 2.5, I'll talk fast. All right, as stated, we're here for Hurricane Harvey relief is the reason we're in Houston. So within 2 days after the storm, we had trucks on the way here, dozens, and in the next few weeks, about 53 trailers that came. In October, we opened a warehouse over on Chartres, and we serve 80 nonprofits who come in weekly and shop with us at no cost and go out to help rebuild. We have everything from sheetrock to appliances to couches, shingles for roofs, and we're out doing that for no charge just to help rebuild, because World Vision, when there's a disaster, we're often the first ones in, and in many places around the world, the last ones out. What we're best known for is working with children and for clean water. So what we're doing is a global 6K. Anyone have any idea why it would be a 6K instead of 5? Or how long is a 6K? Okay, that essence of time, I'll tell you, 3.72 miles. And the reason that it's a 6K is that's the average distance that someone in a developing country has to walk to get water. This is the #1 preventable death that we can impact in our lifetime. It's cost about $50 for World Vision for each person to give them clean water for life. So your $50 registration in a 6K can actually provide clean water for somebody for life. About 1,000 children under 5 die every day from contaminated water. And in our lifetime, we have the opportunity to squash that out. And World Vision is one of the leading partners in that. In Rwanda, we're the #1 non-government organization working with them. And we believe by 2024, all of Rwanda will have access to clean water. So how you can help is the Global 6K. It's a $50 registration fee. And again, that will provide clean water for somebody for life. We go in and we build a well in the area. And we don't just provide the water, we teach them to maintain the well, how that can benefit them in their area. And we'll often be there for about 15 years until they're self-sustaining. And then we go and leave the area. So if you do the 6K, you'll get one of these shirts, as well as a bib with the actual child in that area that you're impacting. So you'll actually get to hear about that child. There's information in there, so you'll get the shirt and the information on your child. You can interact with them if you want as well. Through email and different stuff, they'll be able to get them letters. But it's a $50 registration fee. If you do that 7 to 10 days after you register, you'll get your shirt and bib and information packet. After you do the run or walk, or if you just want to register and come cheer everybody on, that's fine. You'll also get a medal when you complete the race. So we'll be handing out flyers. I'll have them back on the table. And as I finish here, if you know you want a flyer, on my way back, there'll be an open seat here, by the way, when I go. On the way back, I'll just hand you a flyer. But thank you very much for coming and letting me present this to you today.
Okay, next. Oh, I'll let you do that. That's okay. Go ahead.
I'll be quick. My husband has some in the back as well.
Okay, next we have the chief. Floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Happy spring break. Thank you all so much for being here on spring break. I think it says a lot about your commitment to your neighborhoods, your friends, and most importantly to each other and to the greater Houston area. Now, let me just real quick say thank you for always being here, and always keeping us on time. But I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, I want to just state off again, thank you. For everybody that's your first time, raise your hand again. Let's give them a big hand. Welcome. A couple of things. Number one, for anybody that has questions about why we put Ronan, why we put him down, let me just say real quickly that it was an act of love, and for some of the vile stuff that poor veterinarian got for putting down a dog, that it wasn't a dog, that was a partner, that was a friend, that was a crime fighter. It was not made in a vacuum, that decision. It's kind of like when I went to my mom's house, and the media didn't cover this when I made his comments. When I went to see my mom, may she rest in peace, and they told me that they can operate on her because she had the dementia and she was in a coma, but they could only extend her life for a year, and it wouldn't be being alive, it'd be living. There's a big difference. And I just asked the doctor, what was your mom laying there, the neurosurgeon, what would you do? He said, I'd make her comfortable and let her pass away in the next couple of weeks. And so what did I do as an act of love, as much as I want to keep my mom? If a son can do that with a mother and spend 2 weeks sleeping in the hospital, we can have that much love for a dog. And so if you have any questions, that's why that happened. It was a very difficult decision, but it was the right decision. Let me just say real quick about this year. I'm really proud of our partners with the DA's office on domestic violence, especially that's happening. You know, we had over 40 women last year murdered in our city where domestic violence was a direct associated cause of it. And then we also know that strangulation, when men start grabbing women by the neck, that's a really bad sign, and that's usually ends up getting very violent and end up to murder. We changed our policy like I've been threatening to do for over a year now that I've been here, and effective last week, when an officer goes to a domestic violence call and the suspect is present and they can't get a filing, we bring a supervisor to the scene, so the supervisor can make sure the right questions are asked, and that we make sure that it's a probable cause. We do everything we can to make an arrest, because we know that night nobody will be killed. No one will die that night, and we'll make our families safe. And by the way, men can be abused as well. I don't think it's just women. The biggest challenge that we have right now here in the city is really the gang violence that's going on, which is a huge problem, and resources. We have over 20,000 gang members. The good news is, as of today, we're down 11% or 13%. That's in addition to the 32 lives last year that I think went up to 11% last year. What was our percentage last year? 11% we ended up down. So that's another continuation, I think, of the excellence of our department. The biggest problem we have, though, is resources. We just cannot have a city this size with 5,200 police officers. I'm happy to say that the mayor is probably going to at some point start saying the number that he's going to be talking about, that I'm going to be talking about, is we would like to build the case before the end of the year to go to the taxpayers and say, we would like a $150 million exception to the cap to be used only for public safety. And it has to be done in a way where you can't supplant, right? Where you as taxpayers give the city $150 million for public safety, then on one end you give the $150 million, on the other end they're taking money for something else, and next thing you know, in 3 years we're back where we started. But I just hope that when we bring that to you as taxpayers, $150 million divided by everyone in the city is a very small price to pay for the fastest growing big city in the country. Because it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing when you're calling and we don't have resources. If you talk to these officers, we continue to do more and more and more and ask more of them, which is fine. But please keep that in mind and start talking to your list servers and all your neighborhood groups, because ultimately we are going to, I think, benefit from if we can get that done. That'll be huge, not just for staffing, for overtime. I mean, no overtime for patrol this year still, and we just need your help. So I want you to start thinking in terms of that $150 million that we're going to ask for as a public safety exception. I think that if any department has shown the value, is obviously our first responders here with the police and fire, especially during Harvey. We saw. Could you imagine if we actually were properly staffed, how much better we could have done, not only during Harvey, but we can do every day. So that's the biggest thing in terms of what's happening this year. The other thing that I want to tell you all is that to the gangbangers out there, I want them to know, and we'll make it real clear, we are starting a real good partnership with the DA's office again, and the U.S. Attorney's office. And these gangsters are going to start figuring out pretty quickly that they're going to be going to federal prison for some of the crimes, that we can get more stricter sentencing in the federal courts for some of the hardcore criminals that are committing some of these crimes, and that we're going to start making examples out of them. The other thing that I'm really watching that I want you all to pay attention to is the magistrates that are continuing to give very low bonds to violent criminals. I think that, quite frankly, the DA's office sometimes gets more blame than they deserve on that issue. There's a lot of politics involved, especially if you think about who some of the magistrates are and who would. But we're going to keep reporting back to you all when that's happening. And then the other piece is with the legislature, the session starting in January. It starts again, which is right around the corner, right? It is in January, right? Anybody here for the state? I'm not going to forget to remind the governor, lieutenant governor, like we did at Trooper Allen's funeral, that we really want to look at bond in this state. Bond industry kind of runs everything around here, if you ask me, where it's very difficult to say no bond on violent criminals, and that's because state law only authorizes no bond in very, very limited circumstances, and our goal next session is to increase that. And if you watched our press conference, I said you either care about the bond industry or you care about victims of crime. And so we need you to pay attention to that. So we want to make sure that we keep people behind bars that deserve to be behind bars because they pose a threat. So I'll keep my comments short. I want to close by telling you all that you are our eyes and ears. When you see something, please let us know. This bombing thing that's going on in Austin is a pretty scary thing, but that can happen anywhere. That's why I put out information. When you get packages, please don't, if you don't expect a package, don't go saying, hey, it's Christmas, and start shaking it. Pay close attention, look at the package first before you handle it. Look to see if there's postage on there, look to see if it's been canceled. I don't know how many of you actually use verified mail for the postal service. Anybody knows what that is? Any postman in here? Where you can actually sign up and the postal service will send you an email with every piece of mail, a photo of every piece of mail you're getting that day from them. So you'll know what to expect in your mailbox. I do that. If I see a package in my front yard, in my house that I didn't order, because it's never me, it's always the wife. And it's never anything for me, which really hurts my feelings, but that's another story. I always call her before I handle the package, unless it's something that I'm used to getting, like our pods for the, pods that you get. So pay attention to what's normal in your packaging, because you can't recognize what's abnormal or suspicious if you don't know what's normal. So always pay attention to all your packages and pay attention to those details. So with that, I'll just open up to any questions and.
Okay, the next thing that we have is Captain Jonathan Sierra, and it's the Crime Analysis Division, and you're going to get the citywide report.
2 minutes. Believe me, I don't have the cashier, the club chief does, so 2 minutes, I will be gone. All right, so a quick rundown. Welcome to all the first timers. Quick rundown on our crime stats. So because we have a lot of first timers here, I'm going to go through these a little bit more intently. So what you see here is the crime for 2018 versus 2017 for all the Part 1 crimes. And you can see that we are doing great in every category except one. And we're just barely to the bad in burglary of a building. But all the other categories were down. You can see overall we're down 13% compared to this time last year. Okay, so this map here and that is not showing up well. This map here is supposed to show all the Part 1 violent crime, and this is divided. This map shows you all the beats in the city, all the patrol beats, and it's not showing up very clear, but there's actually light blue and light red as well. And so if you have a light blue or a dark blue color, it means that that beat is doing better than it did last year compared to itself. And if you see red or pink or dark red, that means that beat is doing worse. And I can tell you, having seen this map earlier today, there is a lot more blue than there is red. So overall, the majority of the city is seeing less crime in their area than they were last year. Okay. This map depicts a week by week. You can see all 52 weeks depicted on the bottom, okay? So our crime this year is depicted by the black line, okay? The green line that's on the bottom, that is the 5-year low for each week. The red line is the 5-year high for each week, and the yellow line depicts last year. So you can see with regard to violent crime, we are better than we've been for the last 5 years and last year. We're not where we want to be, which is obviously setting new lows, but we are better than we were last year. And this map is not showing well either. I'm going to change the colors next time so it shows that better. Okay, this shows non-violent crime, okay? And this is every beat in the city again. And if you have a blue, a light blue, or a deep blue, that means that beat is better than it was last year. And if you see a pink or a red, that means that beat is a little bit worse than it was last year. And I can tell you, after having looked at the map earlier today, there's a lot more blue than there is red, okay? So we're doing much better this year compared to last year. So this is the exact same thing, week by week, for nonviolent crime. As you can see, we're setting new lows for a nonviolent crime. We're lower this year than we were than the 5-year mark. So we're doing much better in nonviolent crime as well. Okay, if you ever want to see the most up-to-date, you can go to either one of these web pages. They give near real-time, but this is unfinished, unscrubbed information. If you go to one of these web pages, It means it hasn't been vetted or investigated yet, it's just been reported. Okay, so that's where you can get a more up-to-date but unscrubbed information. Our next speaker is great. I don't want to take up his time because we're already running behind, so I'll be in the back. If you have questions, you can catch me afterward. Gentlemen, how's that for 2 minutes?
Thank you. Okay, the main program. You've all been waiting for this. This is active shooter updates. I've seen the short version, the middle version, and the long version. This is the updated version. Stephen Daniel from Public Affairs Division. Mr. Daniel, you're on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, how many of you seen my active shooter training? Well, you know, normally I incorporate a little bit of humor into a very unpleasant topic. However, tonight, since I have the competition of Chief Arcevedo, I am not going to embarrass myself by trying to outdo him with humor. So we're going to just keep it straight and give you a little update. And that's what tonight is all about. Excuse me, I got to watch the screen up here. We're going to talk about the things that have happened. Now, the question is, how do you survive an active shooter? That's what we're really concerned about. And let me just be honest. You know, in law enforcement, we're not supposed to, and I think we do a pretty good job of not getting involved in politics. So we're not here to prevent these things. I mean, we're not here to argue about how you prevent them. And the public has missed a lot of signals. Are we on the right slide? Okay, sorry about that. All right, so anyway, here's a part, forget the slide. Anyway, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Politicians are going to argue forever about how we do this. Somebody has this idea, somebody has that idea. In the meantime, law enforcement has the responsibility for saving lives. And that's what we focus on. This is a very straightforward training. It's not politically correct, sorry, Chief. It's about how you stay alive in an active shooter situation. And that is truly our real focus. And unfortunately, we have learned some different things as these events have taken place recently. We do know, unfortunately, as well as educating our young people to say something, especially after Florida, we got to educate some of our adults to say something. Because unfortunately, I hate to say it, Florida, there were a lot of signals missed, quite a few. And, you know, that's not the only thing. We've seen signals repeatedly missed. And I really think the best thing that we have to offer people, because somebody says, do you think we can ever stop this? No, I don't. And my colleague, Lieutenant Besselman over SWAT, he says, I don't think we'll ever stop it. We only respond, learn how to respond more effectively to it and educate you guys. Education is the best hope, I'm telling you, that we have to deal with this terrible crisis of active shooting. All right? So, several segments of our society keep missing the signals. The kids in the school, the parents, law enforcement, I hate to say it, in a lot of cases have missed the signals. The schools have missed the opportunities to prevent these things. So we have to educate everybody all together. That's what's really critical. Now, up today, Las Vegas, October 1st, 2017, Sutherland Springs, November 5th, and Parkland, Florida, the 14th. Folks, that is less than a 6-month spread. And let me tell you, there is a huge difference in that 6 months from the psyche of the American people. I mean, we've had, before that, we've had all these different shootings, Columbine, Sandy Hook, and everybody rises up and says, oh, we got to do something. And what do you see happen? Nothing. Yeah. Well, for some reason, after the shooting in Florida, all of a sudden, I don't understand it, there seems to be a tidal wave of interest in actually making some concrete, substantial changes. You know, the best evidence I have of that is I right now have 75 trainings booked on my calendar to do, 75. So there is a huge interest that's growing in this, and that's a good thing because, again, the best hope we have to deal with this is education. So this is what we've seen just in 5 months, a landmark historical change in attitude of the American people. Now, we've learned some lessons from Las Vegas. You know, quite frankly, when you go out in public, your safety depends on you. I wish we could be there to protect you every single second, but that's not realistic, folks. You go to a public venue, you go to a Rockets game. First thing you need to do when you get there is assess the situation. You know, if you get to your seat and you go, hey, if something bad goes down, where's the exit? How do I get out of here? You plan, and then you have a backup plan. If something prevents me from going that way, okay, what am I going to take cover behind when bullets are coming my way? Folks, preparation ahead of time is absolutely critical. You know, you're out there at Las Vegas at that concert. You know, I'm really hoping that you didn't decide to stand right in the middle of that crowd because you thought that was where you take in the most of the music. You need to think, when you go to these public venues, where can you position yourself? And I want to say tactically, you know, that's a term we use in law enforcement, but it's something you citizens, you understand. It's just using your head, common sense. If something goes down, are you in the best position possible to avoid the violent threat towards you? You got to establish your escape route, and where can I take cover behind? Now, here's another important thing. Las Vegas taught us this. You have mass casualties. Sorry, fire department, but there's no way we're going to get enough first responders to all the people that need it as quickly as possible. I listened to a doctor that was interviewed from Vegas. He was a trauma surgeon. And he said, look, you get somebody on my table in 5 minutes that's had a massive loss of blood from an industrial accident, car wreck, or gunshot, 5 minutes, and nobody's attended to that massive loss of blood, that person's most likely going to die on my table. So, ladies and gentlemen, there just are not enough paramedics. There's not enough of any kind of first responders to get to everybody. So it's incumbent on each and every one of us to change our thinking. We are all now first responders. We all need to know some very basic things to deal with gunshots. How you put a tourniquet on a limb. How you put pressure on a wound you can't get a tourniquet on. How you take a candy wrapper, put it over a sucking chest wound and hold pressure. Some very basic things, but you need to get prepared to do these things because it may be a total stranger right there that you're saving their life, but it also may be your family member. So we just can't rely on everybody being there to take care of you that second. So get in there, get some education, get some training from qualified people on how to deal with gunshot wounds and these massive loss of blood situations, all right? So, all right. Now, Sutherland Springs, as I tell my audiences now, Sutherland Springs, Texas, if those people in that little country church had the training that I provide, I guarantee we would not have had 26 people killed. Absolute guarantee. Folks, don't underestimate the power of education and getting your head in the game. It is powerful. All right? So, we do see Sutherland Springs. We had 26 killed, 20 wounded. Antioch, Tennessee, 1 killed, 1 wounded. Well, what's the difference? Church of Christ in Antioch, Tennessee, remember that? Okay? Well, you probably don't because it wasn't near as dramatic as Sutherland Springs. Okay? 1 and 1. The difference was there was a deacon, Richard Engel, who jumped up that Sunday morning and with an inherent survival mindset, he attacked this guy, got him on the ground, beat on him a little bit, held him at bay until the police got there. So I'm telling you, he had a survival mindset, and that makes all the difference. And that's why in the Church of Christ in Tennessee, we had 1 and 1. We didn't have 26 and 20. Folks, it is critical that we educate people how to respond to these terrible situations. The other lesson we learned from Sutherland Springs is, folks, if that gunman stops to reload, it's go time. Go out the door or go for the shooter, but you don't sit there and wait to be executed. Plain and simple. Unfortunately, there was a little lady sitting up in the corner on the floor of that little country church, and she clutched to her chest her 8, 9, 10-year-old daughter, And he stopped to reload, put a new magazine, put one in the chamber, and he walked over and killed them both. Folks, you got to understand this. You got to visualize ahead of time so that you don't go into shock. You're not all excited and frustrated and you don't know what to do. And you let that guy come over and kill you when you had an opportunity to get out the door or tackle him and take him down. But you got to get your head in the game, and the best way I'm telling you to do that is visualization of these situations ahead of time. Now, Parkland, Florida, we got to understand, if you're in a building and the fire alarm goes off, and then you hear a gunshot, guess what? It's a false alarm. It is not a fire. It is somebody trying to lure you out. They're calling you into a trap so they can get a nice, clean, clear shot. Actually, there is some new technology coming out that helps identify locations of gunshots within a facility. And I strongly encourage the creator of that the other day, tie that technology into the fire alarm so that if there is a gunshot while the fire alarm is going on, it cancels it. And we don't get all this flood of people coming out into the barrels of the guns of these lunatic shooters. Oh, what does fire department think about that? They're sitting there listening to, I don't know if they think I'm crazy or what, but, you know, we can discuss that later, guys, if you want to. But really, if you do hear a fire alarm going and then you hear gunshots, common sense, folks, it's not fire. Somebody's trying to lure you out into a trap to kill you. All right, so, and again, we learned from Florida. We got to start educating our adults as well as our young people, because there were quite a few warning signs that nobody picked up on, nobody carried the ball with, and we saw the tragic outcome from that situation. Now, we're seeing a new strata shooter, folks. This is something started picking it up with Las Vegas. The shooter there in Vegas, 69 years old, white male. Okay, and then we had Sutherland Springs. You know, he wasn't as old, he's 26, but he's another white male. And we're seeing consistently this happening. And here's my theory. I may be totally wrong, but there is some data from the FBI that I got that I think kind of backs that up a little bit. And that is this new strata. It doesn't override or get rid of the young school shooter. They're still there, and they're not going away. But this new strata, in my opinion, is the frustrated white male. They're frustrated with Washington. They're frustrated with the changing demographics of our country. They're frustrated with a lot of things in life. And for a small portion of them, they don't know how to cope with this. And they express this frustration through this sick, sad violence. And that's what we got to watch out for. We got to watch out for people like that that are putting off these signals, these red flags, and we have to take it seriously and get intervention going ahead of time. All right? So, all right. Now, the best key to survival is to create your survival mindset. I just cannot emphasize how important it is that visualizing, look, not just at work, not just at your volunteer location, but at worship, at recreation, at the grocery store, all the places you frequent on a regular basis. Visualize a gunman coming in there and applying the run, hide, fight tactics and techniques that we teach. And I'm telling you, don't ever sell your brain short, folks. God gave you a great brain. Use it. Condition it so it's prepared to deal with these tragic situations. Oh, and did I mention? It does work. To date, there are 4 people that have come to me and said, "Sir, what you taught me to save my life." The most recent was out in Las Vegas. Another was a lady attorney from Houston that got the training here in downtown Houston, and she went off to Nairobi, Kenya, when that terrible shooting at that mall took place, and she came back and said, "Man, I'm glad I got that training because it saved my life." So this stuff does work, and I don't say that, folks, quite candidly to edify myself. It's the message we're sending out. That's what saves lives. So you need to do this. Now, there truly is no one tactic or technique that I'm teaching that does it. But what I really have come to realize, what the value of the active shooter defense training that we provide through the Houston Police Department, the value of that is it gives you that confidence, that self-assuredness, that when shooting starts, all of a sudden, oh yeah, I remember, I know what to do, I can survive this. I'm telling you, that positive attitude, knowing that you have the tools up here to cope with this terribly tragic and violent situation, that is what will save your life. Not any one tactic or technique that I tout. It's that self-assuredness, that confidence that I know what to do and I can survive this thing. Now, let me also say this. All the training that I provide is basically putting out there what we believe to be best practices, okay? But does that guarantee that that is the right thing for your situation 2.5 or 6 years from now? Certainly not. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to develop this survival mindset, and in the moment, I want you to make a critical decision. That is what is so important. You, in the moment. There's no way that I or the SWAT team or anybody else in law enforcement can tell you today exactly what you need to do in 2.5 or 6 years from now. I mean, that's ridiculous. We just can't do it. But what we can do is give you that confidence and let you make that critical decision in the moment. As an example, Sandy Hook. I think we all remember that. Well, they had good policies and procedures. Like so many schools, they locked down. And generally, I do believe in schools that is a very good approach. But it's not always the right approach. And in that situation, there were 2 teachers at Sandy Hook that made a critical decision in the moment. And they told their class, come on, kids, let's go. And they ran up to the fire department. And you know what? Not a child in either one of those 2 classes was harmed at all. So folks, nothing overrides a prepared mind making a critical decision in the moment. So put yourself in that position, prepare yourself so that if it becomes necessary that you can make those critically important decisions. And just like the 4 survivors that I talked about a minute ago, you go home alive. And let me just conclude by saying this. The Houston Police Department provides this training free of charge anywhere in the city limits of this fine city of ours. And please, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll be glad to schedule it. Now, honestly, I'm scheduling out in June right now. But hey, get on the schedule. You know, before you know it, June will be here. In fact, I don't know how you are, but maybe you identify with this. As I get older, time goes a lot quicker. So, hey, you know, tomorrow it's going to be June. So just, you know, call me, get on the schedule, and let me come out. I don't care if it's your business. I don't care if it's your Knights of Columbus, your Rotary Club, your business, whatever the case may be. I teach any group, and people ask me, well, who do you need? I said, well, I need people that are at least high school age and older. And that's it. Breathing people, because this applies to everybody. Sometimes I go to places and they want just a certain group of people in the organization for me to train. It's like, well, what's the deal? These managers over here, their lives more valuable than the rank and file employee out here? And it's like, hey, everybody needs this. So if I can come out and train somebody, or hey, you know somebody that would like this training, pass on my information. All you got to do is call Public Affairs and ask for me. They will transfer you right over. And look, I tend to be out of the office a whole lot. So leave me a voicemail. I know a lot of people love to do all this electronic stuff, emails, and I do deal with emails and answer them. But, you know, like maybe a few of you, I can remember party lines. So, you know, voicemail actually works pretty good for me, you know, and my daughters just shake their heads at me. But anyway, that's the case. So anyway, folks, I will say this finally. The Houston Police Department has done an incredible job, in my opinion, of allowing me the latitude to develop this and take this training out. and they have supported me and backed me up, and Chief Arceveo is one of the driving forces. You know, for the longest time, I'm not faulting anybody, but for the longest time I was told, oh no, we can't let anybody videotape you. And the other day I got a question, oh, can we videotape you? I go, well, generally not, but guess who I rode the elevator up with the next day? This guy with these stars up here, you know, he had like 4 over here and 4 over there. And I asked him, and you know what his response was? I don't see why not. So guess what our policy is now, ladies and gentlemen? You want to videotape it, go for it. Because look, the more people that we can educate, the more lives we save, period. So do whatever you can to spread the word and get it out there. Now, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.